So Dave Joerger is out as the Kings coach, which was a little weird, but then I realized it's the Sacramento Kings, and there's been some rumors that Vlade and Joerger have had some tension, so I guess it's really not that weird. And before I start defending Dave Joerger and all that, I want to say this isn't the first time that he's had some weird thing going on with the front office, so this could be a thing that is just a constant with him. He might be an asshole, we don't know. But that being said, in terms of his on-court stuff, he's certainly a respectable head coach, I would say. I wouldn't consider him to be one of the best coaches in the league, but I think he's far from the bottom tier as well. And given that the Kings have had their best season in a long time, and there's so much excitement around this team now because, I mean, we all thought they were going to be awful, and they nearly made the playoffs in a difficult conference. It is a little weird to rock the boat like this now, because you'd think the idea would be you keep him because he's familiar with the players and this whole team and the coach and the staff can grow together, right? Kind of like what the Raptors did with Dwayne Casey, a guy who, not a bad coach, not a great one, but certainly good enough to keep around, and he grew with that team, and eventually they had to make a decision to let him go, but I don't know if we were at that position yet with the Sacramento Kings, but, we could be. I think the question is, the Kings' growth this season, like how much of it do you really credit to Dave Joerger? Because the personnel made a lot of improvements. De'Aaron Fox, from where he was as a rookie to where he is now, and his shooting is quite a jump. Same thing with Buddy Hield. I think he's been going under the radar in the most improved player race. He was my pick. I don't feel as good about it as I did 2 weeks ago, but he might still be my pick. The Zach Randolph for Bielitsa swap was huge as well. There's a chance that any sort of coaching that Dave Joerger could have done was not as effective as simply spacing the floor out more. And you could argue that any head coach who, with half a brain, would realize no more Zebo, a lot more of a shooting power forward. Now, Joerger should still be praised for that because there are some coaches who wouldn't even realize that one. But when we're talking about head coaches that you really need to keep no matter if the team is good, bad, whatever, that's not the kind of move that really does it, Like Rick Carlisle would be able to figure that out just as much as Joerger or anybody else. So I'm not going to say that Dave Joerger is some X's and O's mastermind, but he might have been good enough to keep around with this Kings team. We don't know. Now, of course, there was the Buddy Hield incident, and that was pretty weird for Joerger to give Hield crap like that, and that made him not take that shot that I think it was against the Warriors, could have won the game or whatever. That's not good. You compare that to Brad Stevens, who for a while has had this mentality of like, in the moment, just kind of let the players do what they do. So, yeah, that was certainly a moment for Dave Joerger, and there's a chance that that sort of thing ties into the tensions with him in the front office, and a similar thing that happened with the Grizzlies, right? So maybe Vlade just saw that on a day-in, day-out basis, and he chose to get that out of there now. Now, of course, there's a chance that Vlade made a huge mistake here, because maybe the guy that they get is just not going to be that good. This is the Sacramento Kings we're talking about, and they've made some questionable moves. This team is pretty good because they put enough decent moves together with the drafting of Fox, and they were right about Buddy Hield. We got to give them that credit, and Bagley seems pretty good, and the Bielitsa signing was a smart one. Now, there was also the Zach LaVine contract offer, which didn't make any sense given that they already have so many backcourt players in this team. So that was the old Sacramento Kings still coming back. So there's a chance that this is one of those moves where the main reason this is being done is because Vlade Divac just wants all the power in the front office, whatever that really means. I don't know. I think now it's a matter of just having a real plan and knowing the person to have in charge moving forward, whether that's promoting somebody, going out and getting someone. Maybe it's a guy in college. I don't really know. There was probably already some names brought up on Twitter that I just am too lazy to go check. But, this is the type of thing where I don't want to say this is horrible just because it's the Kings, okay? But at the same time, it is the Kings, so I think it's fair to look at this with a bit of like, wait, what's going on right now? But to not slam them for doing this either. Now, I guess one argument you could make is that this team was always going to have a cap on it with Dave Joerger. Similar to, not on the same level, but same ballpark of like going from Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr, right? Like Mark Jackson, really not that good of a coach. The guy could draw up some decent defensive game plans. Outside of that, the reason that team was good was because of the players. So you hire that more X's and O's coach, who is also not a whack job behind the scenes. Maybe this is a similar thing. I mean, maybe next season Buddy Hield is going to be running around screens like a crazy person. Not to say he doesn't already do this, but he could be doing it in even better, more creative sets under some new head coach. And maybe De'Aaron Fox is getting more creative pick and rolls. And maybe Marvin Bagley's moving off the ball a little bit more. And all those type of things. I don't know. It's all going to depend on who the new guy is, and hopefully he doesn't suck. Because while I don't think Dave Joerger is amazing, certainly not a bad coach. So, yeah.